A cataclysmic event that took place in the area of South America. A time after the people of Kasskara migrate to the area of Tiwanaku that was founded with the name of Tautoma. And that cataclysmic event was also provoked for the changes that were happening on Earth just time earlier when kasskara went down the water. And all the area of Atacama Desert that you see in this region, in the actual times, just tells you that there was big water that came to that area and vanished all that area. So many lives were lost in that then. So other of the qualities or skills, if we see it that way, from the Tunkachina people is that they were capable to conceive life or children in a woman without mediation of sexual contact, and they were not seen as divine entities or as gods, and that's something that really needs to be clear. They were seen as elders, and they present themselves as elder brothers that were helping us in our evolution in those times on Kasskara, on Mother Earth. They were human beings like we are. They behaved like us, like we have today. There were little differences, and that differences were also the description of the Kachina dolls that you see today in those areas, in New Mexico, in Arizona. Sometimes the Kachina have an interesting or strange aspect for the people, and that's why the ancestry began to produce or do the dolls for children to get used to the image of the Kachinas and continue that knowledge of who were the Kachinas and how do we get to become who we are in the actual times because of them. So they were human beings, but they were really highly developed, conscious, and they have capabilities, physical capabilities that we could tell or known as magic, highly developed potential. That was precisely part of the teachings that the Star Teaching Knowledge understands. Other of the qualities or the functions of the Kachina in those times was that they were building underground tunnels. And there's a big tunnel that comes from Machu Picchu to the northern plains. And there's many systems of tunnels. Some of them are being closed for the secret governments from long time ago for their own development projects. And well, they have the technology to build such tunnels. The reasons, there's many reasons. But the point is that when this cataclysmic event happens, they were forced to move to the area of southeast to Yucatan, Ciutan, and nearby Chiapas, where the archaeological zone of Palenque is also known as the Red City. White Bear described it as the Red City. So before to go to that, the meaning of Tautoma means she who was touched by the ray. That's the meaning of the word Tautoma. So when they get to Palenque, they develop another system of education to continue to receive, and the teachers were the Kachinas, the Tunkachina people, came down and continued to give the teachings. But there began to get conflict with certain native groups and certain native people. When the kasskara migrants arrived in here, they were all already native people living in here. Some of them were not as developed, and some of them were really highly harmonic beings connected with nature, who understood the elements of nature. So there's where all the dissemination of the star seed began. All this connection among all these groups is what began to create all the different migration of indigenous people that we know in the actual times throughout Mother Island or American continent. So those conflicts took or pushed the Kachina to take the decision to leave, but they leave a message, and that message was that we're gonna come back. And the signals of the blue star Kachina and the red star Kachina is part of what they were told. We're gonna come back. And Pahana is also seen as one of those elders or teachers, and Pahana is known for the Mayan as Gukumats. Gukumats, and it is not Some people call it Kukulkan, or associated with Kukulkan, for the cult of the feather serpent, which was precisely the method of teaching. Quetzalcoatl was an order of priests, or highly spiritual beings, who maintained that ancient way to learn alive. And if you go to Akiba on the Sunni area and get inside, you're gonna find inscriptions that describes a mythological being or a feather serpent, and that brings the link with South American cultures. So how do you explain that? It's because that's where it come from. That is where it truly come from. Another of the quality of the skills that gives identity to the Sunni people and the Hopi people is the writing and the constructions of geometrical shapes on the floor with sand, color sand or pollen, from bee pollen. And this is a technique that isn't known for many people. And if you go to Tibet, you're gonna find that the Tibetans have also a discipline that is paint on the floor, big mandalas and big geometrical shapes with sand. That was apparently given, according to Whiteberg, given for the Kachina people, for them to create certain harmonic resonance, or change the geometrical harmonic patterns on the place where they were living by building such geometrical forms. And that's why those have a religious meant ceremony. It's part of the religious ceremony of the people in the actual times. So those conflicts among tribes push the Kachina to live. There's where they live. And when the Hopi move far to the north, continue to go far, Whiteberg describes that they go through jungles and really hot water. They cross through different ecosystems. And they continue to go far north, but they found a big block of ice that told them that that was not the place where to be. So they came back and they established in the Four Corner Point that understands Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. They established in that point, and that's the place where they continue to receive the teachings. The Kachina dances are part of their culture because that was told for the Tunkachina people, for them to maintain alive, a way to celebrate the connection of the Tunkachina, the cosmic elders, with the people of Kasskara and maintain alive such lineages. So all the indigenous lineages have a code, a connection to that original genetic pools that came from Kasskara. And also the interaction from the Tunkachina people with the indigenous people that were living in America, an American continent, and Turtle Island in those times is what brought up much more new connection and understanding. The seed was spread everywhere, all throughout America. And that's why most cultures that maintain alive their foundation, their structure, their language, can see that connection, can see with clarity how strong it was and who they truly are in their genetic lineage. There's many things that are being told about the Mayan people where these schools were established. Whiteberg called them the Red City. Palenque is known as the Red City. And those were people who were part of that migrated people from Kasskara who were highly developed. Everything you are being heard about the Mayan as savages, as killers, are dominated for reptiles and really evil races of ETs is a lie. They were really highly developed who develop a system of time that compresses physicality. And that's what you know as Chalkish. Some people call it Tzolk'in. It's not a calendar. That's a mathematical device given for the Tunkachina people to them to understand how to compress time and how to alter the reality. And that way go through one frame of reality to another. And that's where you find the mysterious disappearance of most of the Mayan people. In 1915, if I don't remember, but one of the main teachers were Pakaltan and Chambalung Pakaltan. They were cosmic elders, part of the lineages that were giving instructions in Kasskara in those times. So they were part of that migrated people that arrived in here and continue to preserve that old ways or their lineage strong. The Olmec people were also part of these migrated people who arrived in there. And the big blocks or big rocks, the big colossal head stones that you see were also helped by the Kachina people to move them in there and edificate their language, who they were truly were. So the images of the Olmec people, of the Toltec people, will look something like this. These were the original people. This is an average size of a human, and this is an average size of these people. So this is the characteristics, physical characteristics of the ancient Olmec people, of the Toltec people, descendants from Kasskara. They were really tall people.